Hey guys, you here, aka Gino. Welcome to the 6th track of the competitive contact racing playlist which I've created and put together. I'm totally going to be making 8 tracks to complete this playlist, but this is the 6th track that I'm showcasing. The playlist for both consoles is available in the link in the description below. The links are there for PS3 and Xbox 360, as well as this particular track individually for both consoles. So, Chicken Grand Prix 6th track, as the description states, face the toughest track yet with multiple technical points. Your thumbs will be sore by the end of it. The innovative hairpin designs make this track perfectly balanced for all drivers. Push your limits with the chicanes, 2-wheel apex cornering with the top races. How close can you get to the apex without hitting the barriers? Consistency will beat risk takers on this track. There is a choke point which requires full control of the car. Any mistake will cause your car to make love with a tree. Most likely a willow tree, but you definitely will see that if you are not paying attention. So the initial layout on the track design intended ways to actually make it look like a chicken bone. As you can see, it's got the exact same shape and form. So that's interesting, you know, as this track has to do with a chicken. So let's get right into it, show you an example of the flow of the track as well as some of the battles you can get. Alright, okay, alright, Chicken Grand Prix, chicken bone, everything looks right, everything fits it. The amount of different pictures you can get on this game for your racetrack is unreal. Like literally variety all over the place. You got billboards, you got signs, you got shops and everything, or with little images, little, you know, just I don't know, just collages of random shit just out of nowhere, just creative stuff. And that sort of gives you a little bit of inspiration and that motive to create that racetrack with a name or whatnot. But it all starts off with a name, people. You get an idea and you work your way around it. So this is the choke point of the track. You see right there, you make love to that particular tree depending on the angle. There's different various amount of trees over there on the right hand side. So anyway, if you're not paying attention to that, then you're completely flying. So I've intended this track to be that way because it is quite simple and straightforward for the rest of the track, but I want to create an element of balance. A couple of hairpins here, so quite unique design of a Z hairpin if you look at it from a bird's eye view. And then when you come along here, you got a couple of chicanes as well. So this is the first chicane, and the other one was a, you know, it's quite a famous. This is quite a famous chicane for most tracks, you know, left, right. But instead, I wanted to cut my route towards Rockford side, and this is quite an original route because quite a lot of tracks don't have. But this right-hander right here feels really good if you perfect the line and go across this pavement. And then you got a double right-hander here, which is another one of my favorite routes on GTA 5 because you really get a smooth line for it, and if you fuck it up, then you completely slow down. And these are a lot of overtaking zones, and that barrier can completely screw you up if you don't get the apex cornering right with the inside line. And listen, last chicane coming up for a very awkward left-hander for the straight, because in your mind it's telling you to floor that, but you gotta be careful because if you floor it, you go absolutely wide towards the right hand side, or you can completely oversteer over the little bumps that come up just before the palm trees. So if you have a close battle, and it could potentially be a photo finish. And I've intended this massive straight for a relaxation point with a very awesome comfortable dip going towards down the OCD prop placements. And this is another one of these things I wanted to talk about. I mean, here's the thing. When I create tracks, I've got insane levels of OCD. And I must say, it's like, if you want a track to be really, really good, regardless of how you route it, you know, anyone can route it like that, you know. But you can create tracks and create alternate routes and quite unique routes with prop placements, and if the props aren't placed appropriately, they don't actually look nice, you know, visually, then a lot of the times the track will fail. A lot of people like tracks that, you know, are rather attractive and neat and sort of look professional. That way when you come back again, you get the nice comfortable feel of an actual racetrack, and that's what it's intended for. But like I said, you know, currently limitations to props, but we know and we're hoping and expecting, you know, bloody more props to come for content creator for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One GTA versions. So that should be exciting. Even double is enough, you know, 100 props is more than enough. Just thinking about it, it's a lot of props right there already. But I was thinking maybe even 500 could push it for the next gen hardware, but you never know. 500 props could be exploited in multiple ways of ramps and limitations in the sky, but it depends, innit, on draw distance. But we'll see with what we can get. But like I said, people, right now at the moment, the playlist, I don't know if I've said this already, the playlist is actually completed on the PlayStation 3, and I got to recreate the last 2 tracks on the Xbox 360. So the playlist is technically complete. The Xbox guys just gotta wait slightly, but for the PS3 guys, you can certainly sweat it out and try it. Nothing, I mean, everything's pretty much perfected. All the flaws have been corrected and patched, and all the tracks are pretty much perfectly done. So let the racing begin, I guess. Wow, that guy got knocked the fuck. Is that a woman or some shit? But yeah, people, the last 2 tracks are interesting because they're about, you know, 2 minutes long as well per lap. But the last 2 tracks are sort of mixing everything together with all the favorite parts of each track that I've made into a massive combination into one track. So a lot of my favorite tracks I've played of all over, the ones I've created and played from other creators. I put those rows together for the finale, the final race, and that looks absolutely crazy. The flow is unreal, and it feels good because everyone should be familiar with the road. So the final race where everyone should not really have an excuse and have the most epic battles there. So see already. Here's another thing about my tracks as well. Like when you do it for the first time, except for Parrot GP, you should know it right away, right after the first lap. You know, nothing should be confusing. The checkpoints that I've placed, I've intended it to be this way, where I don't really use checkpoints in straights. I'm sure I've told you this. Just use it on the corners. This way, you know, people can actually follow the minimap in the first round, and after that, everyone should be, you know, familiar with the tracks, and that is it. And it's very, very important the way you place checkpoints on tracks that you make, because one thing I learned is if you put a checkpoint right before a braking point or right before a chicane, then people tend to get confused. The problem is, for me, I personally don't have issues of how anything is placed. You know, thing is, because of that right analog stick helps you out a lot for camera angles, and your car and you yourself do that for yourself. So you know that there's no issues there. But a lot of people play with their camera still. So when they're trying to take a corner that's very sharp, like a, you know, a hairpin or a chicane, and you got a checkpoint in the way that's sort of blocking the view, it gets really awkward. So that's one thing. There's a lot of things when you're in the content creator that you can do because of free will, but at the same time, a lot of times it comes to, you know, a lot of time spent simply because of the OCD prop placement. Because if one thing is out of line, one thing is not there, you know, it's not looking right, it can completely put a person off with their line and the speed they take at that corner, which they normally would take at a high speed. So one thing I did with my apex cornering with the barriers is to leave a gap for 2 wheels to go over comfortably for the inside apex cornering when you take the inside line, and so everyone's got that fair balance of taking a proper line in the race course. And that's what a Grand Prix should be about. Even if it's GTA 5, you still should intend it that way. So that's what I've done. And the worst part about this is when you recreate these sort of prop placements onto another console, which, you know, I've been doing, it takes even longer because I have to go over the footage and then actually look at it from every angle just so I can place that appropriately again. Because if one console has a barrier placement closer to the apex than another, or slightly further away, you know, vice versa, I'm giving one console the extra advantage over another when it comes to lap times, and that's not what we need. We're gonna have it fair for both consoles. And like I said, it's kind of frustrating that they may not even bring the option to have track duplicated right after you make it for one console. It may not automatically come up for the other console, so that's something you got to manually recreate yourself, which kind of does suck. Hopefully, you know, something like that happens anyway. Point is, this is an awesome track, guys. Certainly give it as one of my favorite tracks within the playlist, but a lot of my tracks in the playlist are quite solid. 1 or 2 may be confusing at first, but generally speaking, you'll be used to it right away. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoy this playlist if you're on the PS3. And I'm recreating the tracks now, and try this track out as well. Let me know what you guys think. Give me some feedback. I would really appreciate it. Check it, son! Hey guys, Shaggy here, aka G. Welcome to my 5th track of my competitive contact racing playlist, which is available for both Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. The links for the entire playlist is in the description below.